Okay, nice.
Oh my god.
Hey all, how's everyone? You're with me, Mr. Dex, and a massive welcome to the channel. It's been a little while since my last upload, I do apologize for that. I've had a fair bit on my plate with moving houses and arranging some things, so I've not really had much time to sit down and create some content, and instead I've just chosen to bombard you all with streams. So I do apologize for that, but in my defense, Battlefield content has been a little bit dry recently, mostly people just complaining about balancing issues and such, and I'm not really here for that. Not today at least. So today instead I have a bit of a public service announcement, because I thought I pretty much knew everything about Battlefield 1, or at least I thought I knew the major bits. For example, I felt like I played all the classes and tried out all the guns, and I knew which guns were the most useful and which ones suited me best. But I've had a revelation recently. And forgive me if this is already common knowledge. If it is, I'm crazy slow on the uptake. But I feel like there's a hidden gem of a weapon out there that not many people know about. And I think the reason for this is that I rarely come across players using this gun on the battlefield, so my assumption is that most people have either written it off as being too hard to use for too little reward, or it's simply not a good gun. And I think the reason for that is that most people don't know that it has a secret weapon, and it completely changes its functionality and viability as a genuine playmaker. I'm talking about the medic class's General EU SLR. But before I reveal its lethal secret, I'll describe the weapon as most people know it and weigh up how it compares with some other similar SLRs. For example, compared with the Farquhar Hill Storm, one of the most popular medic SLRs, its major weaknesses is of course its smaller magazine size, 6 compared with 20, and it has slightly worse recoil as well. But to compensate, its minimum damage is 35 compared with 30, so it will always be a maximum 3-hit kill, and its rate of fire is significantly faster as well. So to summarize, the General EU is going to kill a target quicker than the Farquhar Hill, but you're basically just going to have to reload more often. And compared with the Selbstlater 1906, probably its closest rival, it's basically identical, except for the fact that the General EU has an extra bullet, but has worse recoil and spread, which personally is a pretty good trade-off. Having 6 bullets means you can get 2 kills before you have to reload, whereas you can't do that with a Selbstlater, which I think is a major weakness of that gun. So already you can see the General EU holds its own if you know what you're doing. But I promised you that it had a secret weapon, and here it is. The General EU has a secondary fire mode. It's not only a semi-automatic weapon, with the tap of a button, it can also be changed to a straight pull bolt action rifle. Which doesn't sound that enticing on paper, I'll freely admit this. I mean, what on earth could be achieved by turning a semi-automatic rifle into one that fires at less than half the speed? Probably why I've never given it much thought. Even if at some point I knew about this feature, I probably, like most people, never bothered to check it out. And then one day I was mucking around in some shock operations, and out of nowhere I was killed by the General EU in what felt like one shot. I mean, it was a headshot, so fair enough, but it should have only done around 67 damage, so surely it was actually 2 shots from someone with a high ping, or potentially simultaneous shots from 2 different players. But no, I checked the player's ping and I watched the replay, and it was indeed a single shot to the head. And my mind was blown. Like, surely this was some kind of hack. But then my friend Albert informed me that a single bullet of the General EU, when fired using the bolt action mode, deals more than twice the damage of a normal semi-automatic shot. And actually it has a very similar damage model to a scout class rifle, hitting around 80 to the chest at most ranges. So what this means is that the General EU is capable of one-hit kills to the head at any distance, and this blew my tiny mind all over again. How could I not have known this? It's a complete game changer. Like, to put this into perspective, medics have access to a weapon that not only is a very powerful 1v1 weapon in close to mid-range, but also has the potential to kill a target in one shot at any distance. And before you click out of this video, I'm not even done yet. Like, I feel like I want to dwell a little longer and just let what I've just said sink in a bit before I continue. Like, imagine if the Gewehr M95 had a secondary fire mode that allowed you to fire all of your rounds in about a second, and how that would completely change the dynamic of how that gun was used, and what a game changer it would be for aggressive playstyles. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to drop a second bombshell on you. Not only does the General EU have a fire mode that gives you one-hit headshot potential, it also has, wait for it, a sweet spot. This is not a lie. This is not some misinformed assumption. No. The General EU has a sweet spot. I can 100% confirm this. The first time it happened, I thought it was a bug. Maybe a headshot didn't register completely, but it's happened to me several times since, to the point where I can pretty much accurately guess its range. Now, it's not close range, for sure. If I was trying to compare, I'd put it at around the Gewehr 98 sweet spot range, somewhere in the 80 to 120 meter basket, which is quite a distance, if I'm honest, and anyone who's used the G98 infantry will know it's not an easy shot to hit, but it is there. Like, seriously, how is this a thing that people have up till now not really taken advantage of? Like, the example I used before with the Gewehr M95 having a rapid fire mode, now give it a 6th round in the magazine, a sweet spot for good measure, and hand it to the medic class, and you've got yourself the General U. So if we put it into perspective like this, we can see just how powerful this weapon is if used correctly. Now, this is all in theory. I mean, naturally, as soon as I learned all this, the General U has been my obsession. I'm practicing with it whenever I get the chance, and it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's very, very good. But where I thought I'd be using the single fire mode the majority of the time, I actually find it quite hard. It might just take some getting used to, but I feel at times I have way less control over it than I would with a normal scout infantry rifle. It's really hard to be aggressive with it, so at the moment I'm using it mostly as a normal SLR when I'm trying to be a bit aggressive, and when I've got a bit more time or where I'm defending, I'll use the single bolt fire action mode. And of course, at any time if I see a bipoded LMG or a camping sniper, I'm never not going to take that shot. It does have major weaknesses though, if I'm honest. Its clip size is a massive drawback. I mean, compared with the Selbstleiter 1906 and the auto-loading factory, it does have an extra round, 6 compared with 5, so as I mentioned before, in theory you can kill a second target if you manage to land all 6 shots, but it's still quite limiting. So say you push up into a position, get a kill or two, the enemy spots you, and maybe 2 or 3 guys try to rush you, you've got no chance whatsoever. I basically got into the habit of reloading after almost every kill because I don't want to run out of shots if someone comes out at me unexpectedly, and this does slow me way down. So you can't be as rushy as you can with the Farquhar Hill. So definitely it's more of a slow and steady wins the race kind of weapon, but in this case I think it definitely does. If you're patient, you pick your positioning carefully, and you don't try to bite off more than you can chew, you're going to be very, very dangerous with this weapon. So yeah, I mean, I'm still practicing, and while it's definitely quite well placed in the skill weapon basket, I think that the General U has loads of potential, and it's definitely worth a bit of playtime from the community. And that's why I think the General U is one of the most underrated weapons in the game. And if what I've been describing appeals to your playstyle, I'd encourage you to spend some time with it and see how you feel. Anyway, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm hoping to increase the amount of content I'm creating over the next few months, so do stay tuned, and don't forget to leave your feedback down below. It's always appreciated. Anyway, till next time, guys, take care.
Da! Feindlicher Sturmsoldat! Sanitäter gesichtet!
Don't go that way, don't go that way. Oh.
Is available near your location.
Oh, it's a sentry.
Ich brauch Munition!
I have the stabbing animation on it.
Ich werfe eine Granate!
We are losing objective Duff.
Is that the sentry? The sentry's dead.
Hier, Erste Hilfe! Hier, Erste Hilfe!
Yeah. I started on fire. He's running away. Lying on the ground now.
We have lost objective Charlie.
Granate! Aufpassen!
Oh, did you bayonet charge him? Yes, but... Noise.
Ich seh mir die Wunde mal an.
I can't get to you, Gary. There's a
We
fire
have
grenade
taken
on your body.
objective Edward.
Yeah, there we go. Are you guys outside?
Soll ich
Thank
deine
you.
Wunden versorgen?
Ah, shit. Is there people there? It looks like there's people there. I'm gonna go around the
Where is
outside.
it?
As the
Oh.
old Eminem song says. Oh, far out.